Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Olde Carr Guy. We're back in the shop today, and well, Dale is getting some tunage upgrades. We'll be going from this to this. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video for an important announcement. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get this all done in one night. There's a lot of little things that need to be done, and I want to make sure that I'm paying close attention to what we're doing. One of the things that prompted me to reach out to Retro Manufacturing was I saw an episode of Ellie's Garage, and I will link that right up here. You guys can go take a look, or maybe it's right up here. Anyways, you guys can go take a look at that episode and see what Ellie installed to her Falcon, and they made a really nice sounding machine out of that car with the stereo that they put into that. So I reached out to Ellie to see if they could give me the information, contact information to Retro Manufacturing, and they did. So I reached out to Joseph there, and Joe got me hooked up. Let's take a look and see what we're putting in Project Dale the truck. So the whole thing starts with this unit right here. This is the retro radio. Now, if I get in really close, you'll see that it does have a little bit of a screen there. And it does have presets like the original radio. The dials are very indicative of this 77 Chevy C10. And once it's installed, right in here where the original one is, the average person isn't gonna know that that's not the original radio. Now these kits are pretty universal, not just for a 77 C10 like Dale, but it's got these adjustable brackets. So you mount these on the side of the brain box, which is this one right here. And you take your knob controllers and they'll mount right in here. So once we get everything installed onto the brain, you'll have your faceplate, and then on the back of it, you've got everything you'll ever need. You've got a Sirius XM satellite input, you've got USB, you've got amplifier controls, you've got auxiliary, and you've even got a subwoofer controller. Not to mention the fact that because this is Bluetooth, we've also got a microphone that will hook up, and once we get the phone set up, we'll make sure we do a test call, see if everything's working. This comes with everything that we need to get it installed. I also opted to go with the molded kick panels. Now these are replacement kick panels for what's in the truck already. And as you can see, I've got nothing here now, but we will be removing this plastic one here, as well as this one here, and replacing it with the new ones that came with the kit. And yes, I will be cleaning these up and spraying them some sort of a tan or saddle color to match the interior of the truck. So we've got the kick panels for the front speakers, and we've also got the Retro Sound two-way 6.5-inch speakers, and they're pretty cool looking. They're going to fit right inside. Now, these kick panels are made for the 5.5-inch. We are going to have to trim those out a little bit to fit the 6s. I did want to go a little bit bigger, so we'll get that done. And this is what's part of the whole sponsorship. We chose to go a little bit different route for the rear, and we will get to that when that time comes. For now, we're going to focus on the install of the retro radio. So first thing we got to do is get the old radio out of the dash, and then we can start assembly on the new one. Okay, so we've got the bezel off of the gauge cluster here, and in order to get that thing off, you're going to have to remove the trim panel down below the steering column here. You're probably going to fight a little bit with the AC duct that goes in here, and then this lower AC duct that gives you cooling to your bits and goes over to the passenger side vent. You'll have to get that out of the way in order to remove the radio. If you don't have AC, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff because, well, it just doesn't matter, you don't have it. And there's the factory radio right there, and we're going to be replacing it with this unit. So, again, at close glance, you're not going to be able to tell the difference, and that's one thing I like. I'm all about things being subtle, so on the interior of this truck, although we're going to have great sound, it's going to look like it belongs there, right from 1977. So according to the instructions, the next thing that we got to do is we've got to get the display connected to the brain, and then we can adjust our knobs to make sure that they are in the same distance here so that they actually fit into the dash. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll test fit it where it belongs. All right, so we've got our brackets put onto the side of the brain here, and there is a left and a right, so make sure you pay attention to that. A good tip that I learned here is that if you take the old radio and you line up the edges of the brackets and the edge of the radio, you'll see where your nuts have to go to line it up for the dash. For when you put it in the dash, everything lines up perfectly. That way you're not sliding it in and out 10 different times trying to make it fit and adjust properly. And another quick tip is before you go and mount this into the dash, it's probably a good idea to get the wires connected to this that you're going to run for your front and rear speakers and or your amplifier, subwoofer, all that stuff, as well as your microphone, because once it's up in there, you're going to be standing on your head to connect everything. So let's take a moment. We're going to plug in all of our wiring harnesses here, get them wired up, just let the wires hang out from underneath the dash, and then we can go ahead and get this mount up. Okay, so we've got all of our connections made here, and just a word to the wise, if you're going to let wires hang, well, it might be a good idea to label them where they're going, because once you get this thing mounted up in the dash, all that information right there is pretty much illegible standing on your head in the dark. And another tip is pre-run your microphone where you want it to go. I've got this one already done, and I've actually got it mounted right up here on the A-pillar, and all the wire is kind of just snaked down through the A-pillar channel here and underneath the dash, and we'll just get it plugged in once we get the radio installed. So we'll go grab that radio, we'll smash it in there, lock it in tight, and then we can start wiring up our speakers. Okay guys, slowly but surely we are getting and making some progress, fine-tuning how far in and out those knobs have to be. There's no exact science to getting it done. I've got it pretty close there now, but as you can see, I've got a little bit of a gap there and a little bit of a gap in behind, and then same thing on this side. So I'm gonna have to take that bezel out one more time, probably the 6th or 7th time already, and kind of crank those nuts out just a little bit. Each time I put it in, I found that it was sticking too far into the dash that way, so I had to bring it out by turning those nuts in. Well, last time I give it 2 or 3 turns instead of just 1 or 2, and well, as you can see, it's just too stinking much. So take it apart one more time, and we're going to turn them back out the 2 extra turns that we turned them in, and see how that works. We are in a little too far on this side compared to this one, so maybe on this side we'll go 2 full turns, maybe this one will go 3. Okay, so we've got the power hooked up, we've got all the adjustments made. Last thing we've really got to do is hook up some speakers, but we've got power to this thing, guys. I'm pretty excited to get this thing going. It's going through all the different colors you can set it to. You got white, you got blue, there's a green, orange, yellow. It just goes through the whole gamut of colors, so you can have it match your dash or keep it funky, whatever you want to do with it. Anyways, that's all we've got time for tonight. I'll be back in just a few minutes. It'll be tomorrow for me, and we'll start hooking up some speakers. All right, guys, we're back. It's the next day, and we're getting ready to work on kick panels. We've got to get the old ones removed, which are all dried up and cracked on this side, and then we've got this one over here on this side. And we've already got our speakers installed. We've got the kick panels painted to match. At least it looks good on camera compared to what we have on the hood of the truck here. We've got the speakers installed. These are 2-ways. These are retro manufacturing speakers, as well as the kick plates. And they're pretty cool looking speakers. That's the number on these two-way coaxial speakers. So we've got to get the old ones out. We'll get these new ones in. We've got a piece on the kick panel over there that we've got to fill in. We'll get these things switched over, and we'll be back with you once we get them installed. Okay, so we've got one of the kick panels in. Speaker is hooked up, and we've got the rear speakers done as well. So now we've got to move over to the other side and get that kick panel removed, swap over that part, and get it installed. And once we have that done, we can start cranking some tunes, and I'm really looking forward to it. I've got my country playlist all queued up. Can't wait to take this thing for a cruise. All right, let's get back to work. Okay, for those of you guys who do not have air conditioning, you are lucky because you don't have this monstrosity to have to deal with. This little vacuum operated canister opens up your vent door, and on an actual non-AC vehicle, you've got a vent selector you pull manually here. So what you've got to be able to do is get all of this transferred over to here, which isn't the problem. The problem is that once you get this put into place, you've got to get all 6 of these holes lined up, because not only is that what holds this part of the kick panel in, there's 2 bolts that hold this servo into place. So we'll get that switched over and we'll see if we can't get that weaseled up into place. Okay guys, the moment of truth. We've got both kick panels installed. The one on the passenger side with the vent control, which tended to be a little bit of a nuisance. Anyways, that's not what this is about. This is about tunage, and we're about to hear just how good this retro sound really is. Now it does take just a few seconds for it to turn on and actually connect. It will come up and tell you that it is connected, and then the music . So because I'm recording this with my phone, it will not let me play tunes, which is fine because it's all copyright and all that BS anyways. But man, this thing is fine-tuned. It sounds really, really good. Can't wait to get a subwoofer hooked up to it, which we are going to do in the near future. But for now, this is awesome. Thank you so much to Retro Sound for sponsoring this video and giving me such a great deal on this head unit, kick panels, and front speakers. Okay guys, at the beginning of this video, I did tell you, if you watched clear to the very end, that there was going to be a special announcement. And here it is. We're going to be doing a giveaway. We just recently reached 8,100 subscribers, and well, we're on track to hit 10,000 by the end of the year. My goal was 21,000, but it's not looking like that's going to happen unless a miracle pops out of the woodwork here and we just happen to blow up. But I think it's going to happen anyways. At 10,000 subscribers, we are doing a huge giveaway. And I guarantee you, you're not going to want to miss out. I'll be doing a special giveaway video to let you guys know exactly what is in this prize package, because I've got a few people who are donating some items as well as something that I'm giving away myself. So if you follow me on Instagram, you might have an idea on what it's going to be. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I encourage you to head on over there at Olde Carr Guy, and I post some behind the scenes and some upcoming stuff, as well as information on contests and giveaways, stuff like that. Don't forget, the Carr Guy and Six Fan Show is back in full swing for season 6. It is happening this week on Grant Tommy's YouTube channel. So I encourage you to head over. I'm going to link it up in one of these corners. I forget which one it is. And we alternate each week for the Carr Guy and Six Fan Show. This year we're changing things up a bit. We're having a few more guests. We're having some great conversations, and the shows will be lasting maybe a little bit longer if the conversation warrants it. Not to mention the fact that we are giving back to our super chat givers, our super chatters. We did it last year. We're going to do it again this year. So make sure you stay tuned. Guys, stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. I love you. God bless. Let's do it again real soon.